Aloha, spooky seekers. Welcome.
Oh my God.
I'm keeping it in.
Please keep that.
It's in my script. Aloha, spooky seekers. Welcome to another spine-chilling episode of Beyond the Unknown. I'm your host, Jolie,
And I'm Quinn.
and today we are lifting the veil into the mystical and haunting world of the night marchers on the beautiful islands of Hawaii. So grab your flashlights and gather around because you're in for a ghostly treat.
Ooh.
Yeah, so joke's on you. I should have been wearing a lei.
Just if you were wearing a lei and said aloha like that, I would have died. Oh
So,
man.
I was just in Hawaii for those who don't know, but if you know me, you probably know because that's all I've been talking about since before, during, and after the trip.
I would have too if I went somewhere that cool though.
Yeah, it was my first time on Maui. I absolutely loved it. And being back in the Vancouver area is so depressing.
And also shout out to Maui, who obviously you still had an amazing time there despite the fire. So everyone still go
Yes.
to Maui because it sounds like it's a good time.
Yep, it was great. Tourism's definitely down. People are hurting. And so
But
far,
still
people I
go.
met, yeah, they were pretty open to tourists.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so beautiful there.
Yeah. So, anyways, aside from my trip, there was a story while I was there. I was reading about, I'm gonna go back. What the hell am I talking about? When I was on the, when I was on the island, I was trying to look up like spooky tours or things I could do or like local legends. And I did come across one, and I'm kind of glad I came across it near the end of our trip after we had done like a lot of hikes and things out in the middle of nowhere, because I would have been a little freaked had I known these things existed.
You are way too adventurous. Like I love you, but we would not travel well together. For those who don't know, Joe
Yeah.
likes to do things where they crawl into caves and the spaces are so narrow they need helmets and like you can barely fit through and you could get stuck. Like that in of itself is spooky. I'm terrified just thinking about
True.
it.
Well, that's not what we're talking about, but Mike did do that
In Maui?
in a lava tunnel.
Oh, leave it to you guys. Let's not talk about that.
So let's talk about something a bit spookier. Picture this. It's a moonlit night, the air is hot and humid, and suddenly, in the distance, you see some flickering lights growing in numbers. And as these lights form a straight line, moving down the lush mountain. Not and as. I'm going to say that over again. This is going to be so fun to edit for YouTube. Picture this. It's a moonlit night. The air is hot and humid, and suddenly, in the distance, you see some flickering lights growing in numbers as these lights form a straight line moving down the side of a lush mountain.
Is it Starlink?
Yeah, it is. Just imagine these.
Oh, like light
Starlink.
candles.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm
I thought
saying?
you said
Elon Musk.
starlight. Yeah.
No. Could tell you were not picking up what I was putting down.
No, it wasn't Elon Musk.
Okay, good.
You start to hear distant drumming and chanting in unison, and you look around to see where it could possibly be coming from. When you return your gaze to the lights, you realize they've moved much faster than you expected, because now they're only a few hundred feet away. The chanting grows louder, and you can see men adorned in traditional regalia, carrying firelit torches, spears, and clubs hovering above the ground as they move in. You start to smell something rotten, like death itself, and then you hear the horn of a conch shell announcing their approach. Shivers are sent down your spine as you realize it's the night marchers, and it might be too late.
Yep, I would not have gone on any like far off hikes after
Yeah.
this.
So, who are these marchers, and where did they come from? The night marchers are said to appear on nights that typically honor Hawaiian gods like Kane, Ku, and Lono. And I'm so sorry if I did not pronounce those correctly. And these marchers are typically marching towards burial grounds or other Hawaiian sacred sites. Most reports account the night marchers walking down the mountains towards these sites, but others have also said they've seen them rise from the ocean.
Hmm.
Mhm. The lore of the night marchers is deeply rooted in Hawaiian mythology, and they're not particular to one specific island, as they've been reported on all majorly populated Hawaiian islands since at least 1883, which I find interesting that it's in the 1800s and not like sooner.
Yeah, that's true.
According to legend, night marchers are the spirits of warriors who fought bravely and honorably in battles in ancient Hawaii. Their duty is to protect sacred sites and ensure the spiritual well being of the islands. Some say that these night marchers were transporters of the ali'i, or Hawaiian royalty, like King Kamehameha, and would transport at night because it was forbidden to look at royalty because they considered them to have a godlike status. The groups would march to sacred sites like temples or battlegrounds or even the chief's final resting place.
This is gonna
If the
sound bad, but like I'm surprised that Hawaii faced so many like battles because they're
Mhm.
literally in the middle of nowhere. And I just would have assumed, like, unless they're battling amongst themselves, there'd be a few people that would accidentally make their way to Hawaii, but I just feel like it wouldn't have been that common. Obviously,
You'd
I
be
have no idea.
surprised. When we were there, Mike did a lot of like history research, and like so many individual groups came from like Tahiti or like different Polynesian islands, and
Oh,
like a lot of them had battles. Then they had battles like within themselves, but a lot of people from other like Polynesian islands tried to come, which is
I think
crazy
that's
because that's such a
fascinating.
big distance, and they had
It
such
is.
small boats, like canoes.
And like just, technology and just knowing where they were, like given that it's
Yeah.
literally in the middle of the ocean. That's so interesting.
Hmm. Well, back to the night marchers. If the common
Sorry.
folk, no, it's okay. If the common folk looked at the transported goods or the individual, they were brutally beaten and killed.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it's said that the night marchers went at night to try and spare the common people because if they went at night, there'd be less people, like they'd probably be sleeping. So it's less likely that you'd accidentally look at the person they're transporting, even though you should kind of know the rules. So they were doing it to to spare the lives of many people and to keep the person that they were transporting as safe as possible. With that being said, encountering night marcher spirits is said to be equally as dangerous, as you know. Looking at the night marchers or their precious cargo could result in immediate death.
Okay, so what are you supposed to do then if you see that flickering light off in the distance?
Well, I think if you see it in the distance, you're okay as long as you leave the area. But if you encounter the night marchers more closely, like if you're in an area that they're approaching and you can't get out, you're supposed to lay down on the ground, face down, and pretend to be dead until they pass. Whatever you do, you're not supposed to look directly at them or whatever they're transporting. If you do this, the group, oh, yeah, if you do that, then the group should march past you without harm.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. It's not even one that's just like, oh, they'll just walk right past you. It's like you have to lay down on the ground, face down.
And pretend you're dead, or they're
Yeah.
gonna make you dead.
Yeah. Not everyone, though. If you're of Hawaiian descent, you could be fortunate enough to hear them yell out na'u, which means mine. And that's their way of referring to someone who's their own. So kind of like they're one of us.
So if you're Hawaiian in this, you see this, you'd probably be okay no matter how you approached them.
Potentially,
Okay.
but it's said at least on Maui when Mike was looking, I don't know if it was all of the Hawaiian Islands, that I think only 10% of those who inhabited it are like of Hawaiian descent or like at least like 100%. Like there might be a lot of like
Oh,
mixing.
I bet.
So
Yeah,
I don't think this would apply to everybody.
fair. Okay, it's not just because you live in Hawaii. You have to be like truly Hawaiian descent through and
Yeah.
through. Okay.
Yeah, if the night marchers think that you're a part of their group or like their tribe, then they'll spare your life and walk on by.
Okay.
Earlier, I mentioned that the night marchers would kill anyone who looked at the people they were transporting. And that's because the night marchers are believed to be guardians of ancient traditions and are said to enforce kapu, the sacred laws of the Hawaiian people, which is similar to a caste system. So, what were these sacred laws of the Hawaiian people? The kapu system are a set of rules to govern the men and women of Hawaii as a form of protection and more harshly, correction. The system believed, oh, sorry, the system beliefs were based on what they thought about mana, a term for strength and power from the gods. Ancient Polynesian people of Hawaii believed that the gods made these rules, and then the alii, or like chiefs or royalty, and the kahuna, wise men, interpreted these rules in English for the common folk. And just a quick side note, did you know kahuna meant wise men? Because I always thought it was just like a big ass wave.
I absolutely thought it was like a surfing thing.
Yeah, I think it's a surfing term, like more chill, but I guess it also means wise men.
Oh, interesting.
Big kahuna.
Ah, makes sense. Like, but I just don't know why it's always used in the context of surfing, but I don't know.
Me neither. Back to kapu. These godly laws interpreted by man govern the practices and daily lives of the Hawaiian people. If kapu was broken, the punishment was often a brutal death. Surprise, surprise. Some rules of kapu included ahi, which was around eating. So I think ahi means like eating, and then kapu is like the laws around something.
Okay.
So it was called like ahi kapu or kapu ahi. And this is where women could not eat with men. It was very segregated around mealtime. Women were also forbidden from eating certain foods like pork, coconuts, bananas, taro, and many other foods that would be grown or available in Hawaii.
I feel like those are key foods grown and available in Hawaii.
Yeah, so I guess they could eat like fish and maybe other things that they grew, but
Talk about
not the.
misogyny.
Uh-huh. There are more things that women can't do as part of kapu, like paddle a canoe. So
Why?
basically, I don't know 100%, but I read one thing, so I really should double check it. But basically, they were saying that this god, the one that originally made the laws, um, wanted to sleep with his daughter and not have his wife find out. So a lot of
Oh,
these rules were like so women couldn't be around. It was weird.
that's gross.
Yeah. So, anyways, they interpreted that, they ran with it. Women were forbidden from doing a lot of stuff um, in Hawaiian culture, which I thought was interesting because that's totally the opposite of what I thought Hawaiian culture would have been like.
Same.
But luckily, the segregation of women and the strict laws of kapu were abolished in 1819 when the new heir of the monarchy came into power. That's not to say that kapu rules like outside of like women's segregation and stuff didn't exist and aren't still present today. Like there are a lot of things that are considered taboo and against kapu in Hawaii. And you might even see signs that people have up in their lawns or like the front of their houses or something. And that now kind of just means like blocking private property or forbidden areas and not so much the ancient laws.
Fair.
So the night marchers, big practicers and enforcers of kapu, are still haunting the island of Hawaii. But even if you're out hiking, even if you're not out hiking, you still could be at risk. So apparently, night marchers can also walk through homes.
Oh, good. So
Mhm.
you can't just hide inside from them.
Yeah, they will never follow you into a home, from what I've read online. But if you live like more rurally, typically, or wherever like the night marchers are seen roaming, and you have your front door and your back door in a straight line. Like basically you could like walk in one, which out the
Yeah.
other, then apparently they're known to walk through and they're angry or they get angered if your doors are locked. So a lot of people, apparently, from what I've read online, leave their doors unlocked and sometimes they'll just open. And then I don't know, they feel like this presence has moved through, or maybe they've heard them move through, and like everything's okay as long as you let them walk through.
Okay, as long as you're not being mugged, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. But to be honest, even if I lived in Hawaii, I wouldn't want to leave my doors unlocked any time of the day. I know it's a super like chill and relaxed place, but property crime accounted for over 90% of crime on the island from what I read when I was there.
I did not know
So,
that.
yeah, that's why there's a lot of like neighborhood watch signs or kapu signs on people's property because that's like the biggest form of crime.
Okay.
So many of the homes, even in more isolated places like Kaupo, which is if you're on the road to Hana, it's like the underside of the island that a lot of people don't travel to. For good reason, as I learned, because some of the road's not paved at all. But a lot of the homes there, even in super rural areas, have these like neighborhood watch or kapu signs. So
Interesting. I would not have guessed that. I get such a chill, relaxed vibe. Everything's happy. Everything's great.
yeah,
I'll say that's the tourist message.
yeah. And I'm not sure like how extreme it is. I just saw like a stat, so
Yeah.
definitely something to look into if you're curious. So I just read a lot of like accounts online of people who've like experienced them just in Reddit forums and stuff. I haven't shared anyone's one particular story, but there is one that I'm going to share. It wasn't on Reddit. It's actually like a few news articles, and it's about a woman named Kay Borlees. I think that's how you say her name. And she
Okay.
visited Hawaii in January of 2019 for a 100-mile endurance run, aka Hurt 100. So I guess it's like an actual event.
Hurt.
Hurt. Could you imagine doing 100 miles?
No,
Yeah, me neither. So apparently, individuals run a 20-mile loop in the forest 5 times
I
just for
couldn't.
fun.
I would die after one loop.
Yeah,
I would die
I don't
way
even know,
before
like,
one loop.
me too. This is extreme,
I
and
couldn't
I'll
bike
never do it.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't drive this.
Me neither. So, yeah, Kay Borlees and her friend Cassie went to Hawaii to participate in this run. And they're huge runners. They love it. Of course, you have to love it if you're entering into a race like this. They're very experienced. And on the run, Cassie, the friend of Kay, was running behind her and took a photo just to kind of capture the memory of them running in this beautiful lush forest. I'm
Okay.
kind of winging it, sorry. So,
Oh, it's all good. Should I bring up the photo?
not yet.
Okay.
Don't look at it yet. So they capture this nice photo. And then later after the race, Cassie and Kay sent it to their friends and family, just like, oh, here are some of the pictures from our trip and from the run. And then one of the family members pointed out that their live photo showed someone in very ancient looking clothing. They even looked kind of like almost dead. And the picture's live, but in the blog article, it's a static photo, so I can't see it in motion. But it's like a person like emerging from the forest. So take a look at it now.
Wild. Oh, that is terrifying.
Yeah,
Like that is okay. If you're not gonna look at our social, there's this creepy, like agreed, dead looking, like almost like colored, like
mummy
the
or something.
trees. Yeah, like standing in the. Oh my gosh.
And
Oh
you might
wow.
think that because they're running in a forest, like maybe it's like a statue or something that someone put there, but
Yeah, so you'll be able to find it
they,
later.
yeah, but they never recall seeing this thing. Remember, they're running this 20-mile loop 5 times. So they would have passed that area five
Yeah,
times.
again and again.
Again and again. And apparently it's a live photo that their friends and family claim that when you watch it, this figure like it like moves like almost in front of them. But they
Oh,
never saw it in
that's
person.
creepy. Oh my
So
God.
luckily, Kay and Cassie never faced death, but I think it's because they never saw it. Like they saw it in a picture later and they didn't see it in the moment.
Yeah, because it's if you see them when they're walking, they'll kill
Yeah.
you. I That's so creepy. Like honestly, you guys have to go look at this photo. Ah,
Yeah.
good
It's
story.
it's so creepy. And one other thing, could be related to this or not, but Kay, who's a huge avid runner, very experienced, very well trained for this race, got extreme foot pain during the race and
Hmm.
had to like actually leave early and she couldn't finish it. And that is super unusual for her. But people think that maybe it's because of this figure, or like maybe it's attributed to the night marchers.
It could, but she also did do something called
Yeah.
100 Hurt. Or
Yeah.
hurt. So, but no, I can see it. Like if she
Yeah.
actually practiced doing that distance before, then sure, I'll take it. But I have a hard time with that. But that photo is damning. You guys have to look at it. Wow.
Yep.
That's
To
so
this,
terrifying. I wouldn't sleep if I knew that that thing was near me ever.
yeah. Yep. I
Oh,
know. So put that in your head if you ever go to Maui
oh.
or any
Nope.
Hawaiian island.
I'm not going to Hawaii anymore. Thanks, Joe.
To this day, no one recalls seeing it in person, and no one, not Kay, not Cassie, or not other people participating in the race, really know what they encountered. Those who encounter the night marchers are said to witness a profound connection to the past, a time when Hawaii was a realm of gods and warriors. And that wraps up our journey into the mysterious world of the night marchers. Remember, when exploring the enchanting landscapes of Hawaii, keep your eyes and ears open because you never know what spirits might be lurking in the moonlit shadows.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Beyond the Unknown. If you have a story you'd like to share, please email us at moody.mediaprod@gmail.com or reach out on Instagram. Who knows, your story might be featured in our next episode.
All of our sources for this episode can be found on our website, beyondtheunknownpod.com. Oh, and don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review.
Until next time, listeners, stay curious and remember that the unknown is always just beyond the shadows. Bye.
Bye.